Discussing issues important to your life and faith. Spiritual insight, practical wisdom. Join us as we transform the world one woman at a time. Women of Grace, for such a time as this. Now, here's your host, Johnnette Williams.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Women of Grace Live. I am Johnnette Williams. Very happy to be with you today. I certainly am. Looking forward to hearing from you today. Yes, I am. It is Wednesday. It is Wednesday. And you know what Wednesday is here on Women of Grace Live. It is Wacky Wednesday. And we have the not wacky Sue Brickman with us. But I'll tell you what, I know wackiness happens on Wednesdays when we are together looking at some of the strange things that we see going on within our culture. Certainly, we're seeing an awful lot of very strange ideologies that continue to make their way into the hearts and minds of our culture, into the hearts and minds of our children, may I say. And we address all of those kinds of things. So if you're seeing anything out there and it looks a little odd and you want to know, is this in line with church teaching? Is it in line with sacred scripture? Give us a call here. We'll help to sort it out with you. The way that you do that is by giving us a call to these numbers. It's toll free for you right here in North America, 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. That is the way that you can join us right here on Women of Grace Live, where we do love having that holy conversation with you. We are also available for you out there at EWTN Radio's YouTube channel and Facebook page. I want to encourage you to use the chat feature there. There's one at both of those sites. Just put in your question or comment, insight, inspiration, or word of encouragement. We'll get it. Do tell us who you are and where it is that you are located. If you're not by chance listening to us via YouTube or Facebook, let us know that too, because we always like to give attribution to the means by which you are with us, whether it's one of our affiliates or Sirius XM channel 130, or if it happens to be through any of the other social media platforms that are available to you. So we invite you to do that. You can also text your question. We had a text yesterday. I enjoy those texts. I enjoy getting them. I guess because it's the newest form that we have that you can use to contact us. Maybe it just gives me a little giddy up. Anyway, all that being said, just text the letters EWTN to 58177. That's EWTN to 58177. Wait for our response. And then put in your comment. Don't make it too long. Put your comment in there and be sure to tell us who you are, where you are, and how it is that you are listening. We will get it retrieved and up on the board. Do know that message and data rates may apply depending upon your plan. Also want to let you know that our retriever, the one who goes out there on social media and grabs your questions and puts them up, is Pedro Quiles. In addition to that, it is Matthew Gubensky that is answering the calls today, 833-288-EWTN. He is our official call screener. Sometimes when he's not in, somebody else fills in for him, but he is the guy that is usually there, and we appreciate that ever so very, very much. I get nice compliments on Matthew and on Pedro. Y'all like them, and I do too. So anyway, all of that being said, we just want to hear from you today. Inviting you to get out to our website. We're always doing something. I'm so excited about this. We have an online event for our young women of grace, and that is happening on March the 7th. The information is up there for you on the website. You can register your daughter right there. And listen, we invite moms to stay with us, or grandmas, whoever it is that wants to be present with their daughter or granddaughter, or, niece can be that, or it could be a teacher with a student. That is all fine. We really, really enjoy that. We like for you to see what's going on. We can tell you one thing. The program that we have for young women is really, basically, I want to say pretty much unparalleled. We do things within the context of this program that meets them exactly where they are in the culture of the day. We address those things in a very faith-filled way, in a pragmatic way too, I would say. It is a program that is time-tested. We've had it for numbers and numbers of years. I don't know exactly how many. I think it's got to be at least Well, I want to say it's probably about 15, somewhere between 10 and 15, if not 15 itself. And it continues to meet the needs of these young women. So we invite you to check it out. We've got numbers of young Women of Grace facilitators, and these facilitators are, around the country. We want to invite you to consider taking a young group of women through. We have the program going on in school settings. We have the program going on in parish settings. We have the program going on in neighborhood settings. We have moms that are inviting the friends of their daughter to come in and leading the girls through the study. It is beautiful for them to look at. It is very well organized, and the facilitator gets an entire binder of fantastic activities for the girls that she can just duplicate, print out. The girls can do them, and they love them. I mean, we see this happening at our events. We typically have a Young Women of Grace day, and we're doing that again in July. It's going to be July 26th for the young girls, beginning the evening of the 25th for, the adult women, although the young girls can join us for that. We don't mind that one bit. If you want to bring your daughter with you, it's a marvelous thing to do. And she can join us again on Sunday after their program is finished, even Saturday evening when we have our healing service. But all of that being said, it's a wonderful opportunity for the young women. And, when we see them coming in there, and it's interesting because they generally don't know each other at these larger events. But by the time they leave, they're all great friends. It's the movement of grace, and it comes by way of our Blessed Mother and the Holy Spirit. It's just a dynamic offering for them. So we want you to check it out. This Young Women of Grace online event is going to be, the theme is Virtuous Friendship, Walking in Love, Growing in Grace. Isn't that lovely? Virtuous Friendship, Walking in Love, Growing in Grace. Girls need good friends. They need friends that are going to continue to be of one mind with them in the enterprise of growing into the fullness that God has in mind for them by way of their authentic femininity and by way of their faith. And this is the beautiful thing. There is nothing more treasured than a good friend. We read that beautiful designation of that in Sirach, in the book of Sirach in the Old Testament. It's a wisdom book. Just an absolutely beautiful a portrayal of what true friendship is about. It tells us that a true friend, a good friend, is a sturdy shelter. That we might have many acquaintances, but very few true friends. We want our girls to have true friends. And if you're a mom, right? I know you're shaking your head up and down, nodding it, up and down right now in agreement. You want your daughter to have good friends. And I'll tell you, this is a great way for you to dip your toes into the water and for your daughters to dip their toes into the water of Young Women of Grace. See if it's something that you would want to get involved with through Women of Grace. We would love for that to happen. Anyway, all the information is available for you at our website. Just go out to womenofgrace.com. You're going to see it's number one in the slideshow. You can click on that there, or even up in the slideshow, it's there too. Underneath the events, it's number one. And then it'll take you to a landing page, and you can just register right there. It is going to give you some insight into what's going to take place. We have some young girls that are going to be there. They're going to be doing skits. It's going to be just a hoot. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. It is Friday, March the 7th. It begins at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, is over at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern. So, make the adjustment for your time zone. It's free. And there's the good news. It's free of charge, right? And the location is your home or wherever it is that you're going to be, so that your daughter can be present to this wonderful experience for her. All excitement about that. I'll tell you, we're all giddy. More to come on the other side of the break. Sue Brickman is with us, and we're going to be opening it up for your questions. 833-288-EWTN. Stay with us.
EWTN Radio is growing. Are you an experienced radio producer looking for an opportunity to help forward Mother Angelica's mission of evangelization? We need a passionate, multi-skilled, talented professional who can manage all aspects of producing world-class radio programming. You could be the newest member of the EWTN radio family. If this is you or someone you know, email a resume and cover letter, including salary requirements, to EWTN.com/employment.
On the next Beacon of Truth, talking about the 7th Sunday of Ordinary Time and Soulful Psalm 80.
I'm Deacon Harold Burke Sivers, and I invite you to join me for Beacon of Truth. Don't miss a moment of 2025. Get a full year of EWTN's National Catholic Register at a limited time savings of over $17. Stay informed with the latest updates from the Vatican, Washington, D.C., and around the world. From the Jubilee year and canonizations to the new administration and beyond, the award-winning National Catholic Register delivers unparalleled news and analysis through a distinctly Catholic lens. Subscribe today and get it delivered to your home, office, or parish. To subscribe with a special savings of over $17, order online at ncregister.com/radio or call 800-421-3230 and mention code radio. That's ncregister.com/radio or call 800-421-3230 and mention code radio. Don't miss a moment of 2025. Call or click today. The National Catholic Register. Read faithfully.
Protecting the sanctity of life.
This is EWTN Radio.
EWTN Radio is all over social media. All your favorite programs are available right now. Check us out on X at EWTN Radio. Remember, EWTN is everywhere.
Well, there is the music, and that music always alerts you to the fact that it's Wacky Wednesday here on Women of Grace Live. Sue Brinkman with us. Sue, as you well know, is the researcher and the writer of our New Age blog that's available for you at our website, womenofgrace.com. You can go out there. It's right there on the homepage. You'll see it. Another way, however, to access it is newage.womenofgrace.com. That'll take you directly there. One of the very nice features of that blog is that there is a search feature, and you can put in the particular topic that you're interested in, and every article that Sue has written on that topic will come up for you. And as I've often said, you know, you could probably get a degree in any one of those subject areas because Sue has written so many blogs on so many of these various modalities and concepts and ideologies and, you know, false spiritualities. It is really a treasure trove, just an absolute treasure trove. So I invite you to get out there and to access it. See what is there for you. Amen. See what is there for you. We would look forward to having you participate in reading those and sharing what it is that you discover there with those that you know that might be involved or have questions about it. Certainly with your young people, they need to know, because I'll tell you, they're the target for all of this. They certainly are. So we invite you to check that out. We also invite you to check out Grace Under Fire, Exposing the Darkness. It is a podcast that Sue does. It is archived for you there in our library. We invite you to check that out. We want you to see, exactly what Sue is saying. This is a 3 to maybe 5, maybe 6 minute presentation on some of the topics that she covers in the blog. Usually they're the ones that she thinks are most important for you are the ones that you ask to have explained to you most frequently. So all of that being said, these are wonderful resources for you. Sue has also written Is It Christian or New Age? A New Age compendium. I invite you to get that compendium. It's available for you at EWTNRC.com. That's EWTNRC.com. We also carry it at Women of Grace, so you can check it out in our store. And she is also the author of a new series of novels, the first of which is Lioness Lost, and that is available for you. So we invite you to get out there to booksellers everywhere to get a copy of that. We're really excited about that series. And I've read the first one. Can't wait for the second one. I know that it's in process. I don't think it's been released yet. And I know that Sue will let us know. I have a feeling we'll be one of the first groups to know that it's available because we want to get it out there. So without further ado, here is Sue. Good morning, Sue.
Ooh, you're rhyming today. It must mean it's going to be a wacky one. You're rhyming.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
I don't know what that says. It just is an insight into me that people probably don't need to know about, but certainly hear often enough right here on Women of Grace.
Well, we
Live.
know it now, Johnnette. We know it now.
I know. There are no
Oh, my
secrets in
goodness.
Catholic radio. They all soon, begin to come out a little bit. So,
That's true.
yeah,
That's
some of these
true.
quirks, I should say, some of these quirks come out. So that being said, Sue, very excited about Lioness Lost. I know you don't have an update yet, I don't think, on when
No,
the
not yet.
the
I'm waiting.
second one in the series comes out.
I'm waiting with bated breath to get that launch date. It should be any time now. Anytime. It's all done. Actually, all 6 of them are done. And there's just waiting. They're going to just tie in the releases of them, obviously. So we're just waiting for the next one to come out. So hopefully I should have an answer. Maybe even by next week I'll have an answer for us. I hope so.
I hope so too. We'll look forward to that. I know that we get questions about it right here on the air. So people are eager. So if you haven't gotten the first book, Lioness Lost, you're going to want to get that because that kind of sets up the whole series. It's very well written, very intriguing. You can't put it down. So I invite you to check it out there. Well, Sue, we've got all kinds of things going on here. And I know that we got an email in yesterday and I did respond to it. And I said to the woman who sent the email to us that we would also be addressing it on the air today. So let's start with that and then we'll get into the topic of the day.
Okay, yeah, this was a very good email that somebody sent to us, saying that our program last week about love spells and the occult and that, it reminded her of what goes on in her AA meetings. And this is not the first time that we've heard complaints about AA meetings, but apparently they're going really new age in there. One of the ladies who attends this meeting always says, "Our Father, Mother, God," when they're praying the Our Father. And it makes her cringe. She doesn't like hearing it. She doesn't know if she should say something to her or not. She said, "Do I have the right to correct her?" But then here's the thing, is that she asks, is she inviting some other entity into the Lord's Prayer by saying Mother God? Or is she somehow tainting the Lord's Prayer? But she's kind of worried about that. She also says because of all the different beings that they pray to in there, because, they just say that they're giving it to a higher power. They don't name it as Jesus Christ. They just say a higher power. It could be the universe. Right. And she says, should I be, offering up my prayer requests? Because I don't want people praying to the universe for my loved ones. I don't want to endanger them in any way. She said that this is a big issue for her at AA meetings. And we've gotten mail in the past about people who just plain quit because they were tired of not just the other entities being brought into it, but the Catholic bashing.
Yes,
that goes on. We have several emails. If you go out to our blog and just look up AA, there's several people have complained and said they don't want to go anymore because they bash the church.
Yeah, and it's a very difficult thing. And I responded to her, and I sent you the response. I don't know if you saw what I said there, but basically, Susan, if Susan is also her name, Sue.
Right. Yes.
If you received the response, you've read it. But for the sake of all of you listening today, what I responded to her and said is, I can understand your concern about changing the Our Father. This prayer, of course, is the prayer that Jesus himself gave to us. To substantially change the Word of God is a serious offense. Additionally, though I don't know the woman's intentions or what her motive is, but it is possible that she could be inviting an unholy entity. At a minimum, I think she is opening a door. As for correcting her, you might simply begin by asking her why she incorporates Mother God into the prayer. It might lead to a good discussion. Praying for her is a good idea, especially before you would bring it up. And then I asked her this, Sue, have you considered attending an AA meeting at a Catholic church or looking into Catholics in Recovery? Now, Catholics in Recovery, Sue, I am aware of because I have interviewed the founder, Scott Weeman. Wonderful man of God. These Catholic in Recovery groups are growing up across the country. And I also know that he offers meetings online. And for anyone that was in AA during COVID years, you know what online meetings are like. They're not the ideal, but they are certainly better than no alternative. And in Catholic in Recovery, it's based on the 12-step program, but it incorporates the sacraments into them. And we've had people that have called into the program. I don't know if any have called in on a Wednesday, but have called into the program at other times, extolling this program, saying it's such a great program, really saying that it's exactly what they were looking for. So what I advised Susan Sue is that if there was no chapter of Catholic in Recovery in her area, that she would, the website's available out there, that she might consider joining an online meeting, and as I say in this, I've interviewed Scott both on radio here and on television. And, I told her to finally be at peace. I don't think that this woman's incorporating Mother God into her prayer can cause you spiritual harm if you are in the state of grace. It is unfortunate that we have to deal with such things. And it is a shame because really it's the corruption of a program that basically was Christian in its underpinnings from the very beginning.
Oh, absolutely it was. And it was Bill Wilson, Dr. Bob Smith. They really it was very heavily influenced by Catholic theology. Fundamentally, it was theistic. It which posed a problem really for New Agers. They don't like that because they believe in self-liberation, New Agers, and the God within. This is their thing. But that's really not where that higher power is God. That's what it was meant to be, the God that we know of, the God of the Bible. That was really what it was founded. It was founded on really in a movement known as the Oxford Group, not the Oxford Movement, the Oxford Group, which is very, very Catholic. We have a blog out there under 12-step programs. If you look that up on our index, we do have a blog out there that explains the whole history of that. And now what we're seeing with it, that it is drifting into the New Age. In fact, in the pontifical document, Jesus Christ, the Bearer of the Water of Life, they actually connect 12-step programs to the New Age.
Yeah.
Because sadly, they are being co-opted by New Agers. And unfortunately, it's becoming, in many cases, very destructive for people who are Catholic and who are Christian because of the Catholic bashing and that. They don't feel good. Like the one man who wrote to us and said, I go there to be strengthened and to be built up, and I walk out of there feeling marginalized and ridiculed.
Yes.
I thought he's not getting anything out of this program at that point. So, but anyway, the Catholic version of a Catholic in Recovery, I mentioned that in this particular article about it. And there's a link to their website so they could find it, a place where they can read up on it. So again, that blog it's called 12-Step Programs, and you'll find it in the index of our blog. So it is in there, and it will give you the whole history and then what's going on with it now and what you can do about it.
Yeah, and I think, again, I think that this just points to something that we say all of the time on Wacky Wednesday, that these false spiritualities, these ideologies, these really much of which has been imported from the East, has really infiltrated the culture to such a great extent that there's probably not an organization that in some way hasn't been tainted by it, which is why it's so very important to stay so close to Holy Mother Church and to the revealed truth of sacred Scripture, and to those apostolates that are faithful to the magisterium, faithful to Scripture. So we have to be very cautious. I know that, for example, we had a question about Reiki the other day, and I responded to that question. This was on the air, and the fact of the matter is that the USCCB wrote a document in 2009. I think it was actually March of 2009. They wrote a document underscoring the fact that no, Reiki ought not to be in any Catholic institution, whether it's a school or a retreat center or a healthcare institution, ought not to be there, that it's prohibited. Now, unfortunately, I don't know how widely circulated that was, but it still remains a problem in many of our Catholic settings, and that's true for all of the New Age things. So that's really the reason why we offer Wacky Wednesday, so that we can help to clarify for individuals what is of God and what is not, and what to look for, so that you can make that discernment on your own. I think it's a very important important work. We've been at this for a long, long time. Since 1992, really, we have been at this, and based on the numbers of questions that we get, et cetera, it's very, very clear to me that it's necessary. 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. And I do want to emphasize that it's Catholic in Recovery, not with an S. I might have pronounced it that way. It's Catholic in Recovery, singular, for the Catholic that is involved in the recovery program, right? So I want to emphasize that. So all of that being said, we invite you to give us a call here, 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. That is the way that you can join us right here on Women of Grace Live, where we love to have that holy conversation with you. Sue Brickman in the house today. It's a Wacky Wednesday. We're talking about the weird and the wacky today. You can also get your questions to us via the social media sites of EWTN Radio. That's EWTN Radio's YouTube channel and Facebook page. Use the chat feature there and put your question or comment in there. We'll get it retrieved. Pedro Quiles doing that. If you call in, it's going to be Matthew Gubensky answering the phone. Again, it's 833-288-EWTN. Outside of North America, not toll-free, I'm afraid, unless you have a toll-free phone. That number is country code 1-205-271-2985. Country code 1-205-271-2985. And the texting, just text the letters EWTN to 58177. Wait for our response. And then give us, your question. Tell us who you are, where you are, and how it is that you're listening to us. We will get it. Data rates and message rates may apply. Phone lines lighting up right now. We're excited about that. But Sue, I know you have a topic. You want to talk about a ghost, the Somerville ghost.
Oh, yes. The mystery of the Somerville ghost hasn't been solved. I love these little local ghost stories. I think everybody listening right now probably has a local ghost story. I know we have one. Ours was Upper Black Eddy Road. This is back in high school, when the couples would go up there and park their car up there. The hook man would jump on the roof of your car, throw his hook through the window, kill the guy, and grab the girl and run off with her, and she would never be seen or heard from again. This was our little
and that enticed young people to go there. What were they thinking?
No, I don't want to go to Upper Black Eddy Road. I don't want to go anywhere near that road. Are you kidding me? So we believed it, but I found out later that there's hookmen all over the country.
Yes,
everybody has their version of the hookman story, but this one is actually kind of a sad story. The Somerville ghost. This was a woman who's was married. This is back in the 1880s that this happened. She was married to a train conductor, and he worked the night shift. So she would come up there, carry her lantern. She would walk up Light Road, which is right next to the tracks, and she would wait for the train at midnight, and she would meet him and give him his dinner. And then one night the train never arrived. And the woman waited and waited and waited, only to find out later that the train had derailed and her husband had been killed. Now, some of them are grisly versions of the story say that he was decapitated. But whatever the case, she never got over it. And she would walk to the tracks every night and wait for him, hoping that maybe he would come back. And apparently this habit continued after she died. And legend has it that if you would travel down that road late at night, you would hear like all the typical sounds of the crickets and all that sort of thing. But the minute you flashed your car lights, all those sounds would stop. And then this small ball of light would appear, and it would resemble a lantern moving from side to side. And some claim that if they tried to walk toward that light, it would suddenly chase them away. Well, now, and I don't know if we'll have time before we go to this first break, but now somebody thinks they've figured out what exactly is causing that, and it's a theory developed by a geologist named Susan Hoff from the U.S. Geological Survey, and she believes she may have found out a link between what the Somerville light phenomena is and this 7.3 magnitude earthquake that happened in 1886 in Charleston, South Carolina. I didn't really know that we had one that was that strong in South Carolina, but that's only 25 miles southeast of Somerville. So it was very destructive. I think 60 people died in it. Would have been much higher, of course, if it had been more inhabited. And
let's
millions.
We're going to go to this break. Let's leave it there, and then you can tell us what the connection is. So we're going to leave you on a cliffhanger, folks, about the Somerville ghost and the earthquake and what the two have together in common there. So all of that being said, give us a call, 833-288-EWTN.
EWTN News In Depth is important for Catholics everywhere. There are so many questions, there are so many unknowns out there as the world continues to change at a rapid pace. We're going to ask the tough questions and get the right answers and make sure that when you watch this show, you feel engaged and you feel empowered.
EWTN News In Depth with Montse Alvarado. Friday night, 8 Eastern on EWTN Television and Radio.
Have you ever heard someone say, I want a religion that is not so dogmatic? Well, G.K. Chesterton says a religion that is not dogmatic is not a religion. A religion means something that commits a man to some doctrine about the universe. Anyone who believes anything is dogmatic. In fact, Chesterton says a teacher who's not dogmatic is not teaching anything. An auto mechanic who's not dogmatic is not going to be able to fix your carburetor. We want professionals to have specific training, but specific training means embracing very specific ideas. And yet, we want a religion that's not dogmatic, as if standing before God is less important than repairing our car.
Spend more time with the Apostle of Common Sense. Visit chesterton.org for more information and go to EWTNRC.com to discover more books and programs written and inspired by G.K. Chesterton.
EWTN Radio brings you the Holy Rosary twice each day for over 25 years. Tune in every morning at 5:30 Eastern for Mother Angelica and every evening at 9:30 Eastern for Father Benedict Rochelle, only on EWTN Radio.
Hi, this is Dr. David Anders. Do you have questions about the Catholic faith? Get the answers on Call to Communion, coming up this afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Women of Grace with Johnnette Williams.
Join in on the conversation. The Women of Grace phone lines are open. 1-833-288-EWTN, 1-833-288-3986.
Well, welcome back, everybody. You're listening to Women of Grace Live. I am Johnnette Williams, so very happy to be with you today. Sue Brickman with us. It's Wednesday. It's a Wacky Wednesday. We're taking your questions and comments on the weird and the wacky. Phone lines are open. I've given you that number. I'm going to give it to you again. It's 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. Also, EWTN Radio's YouTube channel and Facebook page is there for you. Use the chat feature, and we will get your question retrieved and up on the board. We have Matthew Gubensky on the phones. We've got Pedro Quiles out there on social media. We just need you. So do give us a call. We're going to go to Chris in just a moment, but I want Sue to finish her story up. But before all of that, I just want to let you know that at EWTN's religious catalog, EWTNRC.com. We've got all kinds of good things for you. I mentioned that Sue's book, her compendium on the New Age, is available for you there. My books are available for you there. And so are Dr. Ray Garendi's books available for you there. He's got a new one, How to Get Along with Almost Everybody. I totally love that title. How to Get Along with Almost Everybody. I like it because it gives you hope that you're going to get along with everybody, but then he also is realistic, and he says almost, because some people just don't want to be gotten along with. At any rate, what he does here is he teaches you techniques for responding better to hurtful comments when you receive them and for improving your communication skills. He also underlines for us how to become more easygoing, how to be more forgiving, how to be less driven by reactive emotions. In short, a better practitioner of the golden rule, and we all know the golden rule, to love, to treat people the way that we want to be treated, and it sets you on the path toward peace of mind, heart, and soul. So it is available for you at EWTN's religious catalog. It's there now, so just you can purchase it. Just go to EWTNRC.com or Catholic.shop EWTNRC.com. That I think is the best way to do it. I like to just go to EWTNRC.com and to use the search feature there. I'm famous for those things. All of that being said, eager for you to get a copy of that book. I think it's going to help you. All right, so we got to know. So this geologist says that she has solved the mystery of why this light swings side to side, and it's not the lantern in the hand of the ghost of the woman who lost her husband in a train wreck that got derailed. The train that got derailed. So you're tying it into an earthquake that happened in South Carolina, like in 18.
Yes.
Did you say 26?
Yes.
Wow.
1886.
86.
Okay. It happened. It's 7.3 on the Richter scale. That's a big earthquake. That's a very serious earthquake, 7.3. But Susan Hopp was her name, the seismologist. She did not say she solved it. She's offering this as a possible explanation and actually published this in Seismological Research Letters. So her study is in there, and it is being looked at seriously by scientists. But people would say from the area, she noticed she was studying the seismological activity in the area. And she said people would report things. They would hear noises upstairs. They would hear whispering sounds. Doors would swing. She says seismic events we may not perceive as earthquakes fit some of those accounts. And glowing orbs that hang in the air along a former railroad track, she said, well, that makes you think earthquake lights. And you say, well, what is an earthquake light? And I went to Smithsonian Magazine, and they explained it this way. There is mysterious phenomena that have been observed around the world, but scientists still don't have a clear idea of what causes them. Some have proposed that seismic activity deforms minerals in the earth, creating an electrical charge that can lead air molecules to glow. Another theory is that they're related to the release of gases like radon or methane, which can ignite when they're exposed to a spark of static electricity, which is very possible, Susan says, because these are railroad tracks. Mm-hmm. And typically, they're metal. And typically they don't replace the tracks. They don't usually haul it away. They've got heaps of steel upon steel out there. And sparks, she says, could very well be part of the story of why that's happening. And maybe the railroads, she said, are important for another reason, because they might naturally follow fault lines that have been carved through the landscape. So these might be just showing you where there are some seismological faults underground.
That is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I thought it was phenomenal. She said maybe these ghosts are illuminating active, very shallow but active faults. And she said they're impossible to study because you can't catch them in the act, but they are very plausible theories that might explain the Somerville light phenomena and the Somerville ghost. We all know it's not the lady coming back and walking with a lantern, because that's not possible. But this is just what they're saying. But the good news in all this is that the people weren't crazy. They were seeing something. They were seeing a light, and it was an orb that would move because it was moving along those tracks because of the conduction, obviously, from the metal, or one of the other phenomena, the escape of radon and methane gas. So we don't know what that was, but we do know that the people weren't crazy. They really were seeing a light.
And that's the good news. Well, I want to I want to get to these phone lines, so everybody just hang on there. We're going to get to you right now, but I think it's important to talk a little bit about the fact, because there are ghost stories everywhere. Our producer mentioned, when we were on break there, that there's a book out it's the 13 Ghosts of Alabama. It was written quite some time ago. Sue, you were saying that there's reports of ghost activity and belief in ghosts, all through the Philadelphia area. I know growing up in Pittsburgh, there were ghost stories, and Rosie in the cemetery was the ghost that bunches of teenagers wanted to go out and try to find. But all of that being said, let's talk just a bit about, do ghosts exist, and what is a ghost if it does exist?
It doesn't exist. A ghost is if there is a ghostly sighting, it's more than likely a demon who is pretending to be a ghost so that you'll believe in something other than Christian teaching and what has been revealed to us by Jesus. People, once you die, you are judged, and you go to your eternal reward or eternal damnation or to a place of purification. That's the catechism. That's what happens to us when we die. As far as a ghost, Ghosts are human beings or disembodied human souls. They don't have the capability of communicating with the earth or doing anything with the material world because they don't have senses anymore. All they are is a mind. They don't have a body. They can't speak. They don't have a voice box. They can't talk. They can't walk. They don't have legs. They're just a spirit. So in order for them to appear, that would have to be facilitated by either a supernatural or a preternatural power, a being that has the power to do that. So that's either God, a good angel, or a bad angel. They're the only three that have the power to appear as things and to make someone appear. Now, God does do that. We know that. He allows people to appear who are asking for prayer, who are in purgatory. We know, of course, the apparitions of the saints and Our Lady, that he does allow that to happen, and he does facilitate it. It's his angels who do that. But now angels would not do it because they'll only facilitate something that God's permitting. And God doesn't permit people to just walk around and scare people or throw pots and pans around in the middle of the night. He doesn't do frivolous things like that. It's always for a reason that he will allow someone to come back, either to ask for prayer or to give a warning of some kind. So the angels will not do it. God won't do it. And the disembodied spirit can't do it. So the only person or only being left that could do that and make something appear to be a ghost would be the devil. And that's why the church teaches that most hauntings are more than likely demonic entities that are responsible for them. And it is basic physics too. You just can't, as I said, return. You don't have your senses anymore. There's no way for you to return into the material world without having those senses and a material being. You just can't do that. You would have to be facilitated in some way for someone to be able to actually see you. It would have to be facilitated by one of those three powers or one of those two powers, preternatural or supernatural. So, yeah, that's how we know that the woman isn't there. It's a very sad and tragic story, but she's not stuck there. There's a lot of these stories out there. A lot of the ghost story shows are based on that people get stuck on their way. And I think, wow, who would do that to somebody? The God I know would never do that because he's too good a father. Why would he abandon you at such a critical moment in your existence, the moment of your death when you're going to pass over now to a new plane of existence with him, right? Why would he leave you to wander?
Yeah.
It would be like a parent taking their kids on a vacation and then dropping one off at the side of the road and say, hey, you know what? Find your own way home. You'll get there sooner or later. No problem. Who does that?
Yeah.
It's just doesn't.
Not a good parent. That's for darn sure.
Right. And if it did happen, why wouldn't the church have a ministry to help those people? That's another good question that's been raised by exorcists. In fact, our dear father from the Philippines, he had said that.
Yeah.
Father Sakia, if he had done that, if this was possible, we would have a ministry to help those people.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Father Sakia, and let me just say that if you're interested in this topic or any of the topics that we talk about with regard to the New Age, we do have the videos of the presentations that Father Sakia made at Malvern Retreat House a couple of years ago. They're available for you out there in our on-demand section of our website. So go out there and check out the on-demand section there, and you'll be able to obtain opportunity to view those talks. They were really, really very, very excellent. That was a marvelous conference, marvelous really retreat on that topic. I wanted to get Chris. Chris has been holding forever. Chris is in Troy, New York. Well, we're very happy to have you, Chris. Thank you so much for holding. How are you today? Hi, Chris. Chris, are you there?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm here now.
If you had us on hold, we deserve to be on hold because you've been with us since almost the beginning of the show. So thank you very much.
Yeah. I'm going to make this real quick because I got to go pick up my daughter. She's done with her procedure. But as a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, I can definitely attest to what you're saying about the New Age and the woke stuff that's going on in AA. But I would never stop anybody from going. It's something that saved my life. But I would the only thing you need to start your own meeting is a resentment and a coffee pot. So definitely don't stop going.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was saying, Chris, and one of the reasons why I'm so happy about Catholic in Recovery is the fact that it is a 12-step program. It's based on AA, but it brings the sacraments into the various steps, which I think for a Catholic, where does real power come from? Well, real power comes from the grace of God. It comes from our participation in the divine life. So the coupling of the methodology and let us just say the unadulterated methodology of Alcoholics Anonymous and our Catholic faith is I think a wedding that can lead to the sobriety that people are seeking, but in addition to that, a really deep dive into the spiritual life. So I'm so grateful that it's been so helpful to you, and thank you for confirming what we were talking about earlier today. So we have to be very judicious. We have to be very careful, and we certainly do want to affirm what Chris is saying there, and that is that you don't want to just drop out of a program. What you want to try to do perhaps is to find a setting with a presentation of the AA program that is more beneficial for you and doesn't put you in a state of angst all of the time because of what else is coming into it. So all that being said, thank you so much for waiting. I do appreciate it. We've got Jerry with us. Jerry is in Wilkes-Barre, PA, and we invite you to give us a call, 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. That's the way that you can join us. Jerry is joining us via JMJ Radio. That's how he's listening to us. Good morning to you, Jerry. How are you?
I'm okay, but I'm having trouble sleeping, and so I've changed the words of the Our Father the last few weeks, the way I say it, so I have a question if this is okay.
Sure.
Give us this day our daily bread, and give us tomorrow morning our morning sleep. And I've been doing that for some weeks because, again, I'm having trouble sleeping. Do you think that's okay?
Yeah, yes. Well, I don't find a problem with that. And the word that I used in my response to the email we received from Susan was that it substantially change it. If you're changing the theology of it, that's egregious. That's a serious offense. But what you're doing, I don't think, is changing the theology of it. What you're doing is you're adding a petition to the Our Father, which I think is perfectly fine. But it's when you're in some way, altering the theology and calling that theology into question that it's problematic. What would you say, Sue?
Oh, I totally agree with that. As long as it's in private prayer, that's what you're doing, and you're not like invoking some other entity, which is what this person was doing in the AA meeting, right, which was calling upon a mother god. Like, who are they talking about? Sophia? I mean, who are they talking about? Who is this other god? But if you're just in private prayer, I see no problem at all with that, and especially to just add some petitions or whatever onto it. That's why Jesus gave us that prayer, to show us how to petition and how to pray to God. So I think that it's a beautiful habit to do. But again, it's something that you would do just privately. But that still is a very good question, because that would have been the kind of question that I would have asked, Jerry, to be honest with you. I would have thought, uh-oh, am I not supposed to be doing that? So I'm glad you brought it up, because I'm sure other people are asking that question out there right now too. And yeah, as long as it's just done in private, you're fine. And you're not fooling around with the basic theology of it, as Johnnette just said. I think that would be fine, yes.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, this is what we do. God is pure spirit. So God doesn't really have a gender. He's not male or female. But Jesus refers to God as Father. And what is he saying there? He's saying that there is a divine paternity to God, that we can approach God as Father, that he loves us in a fatherly way. It's also, a statement about that he is the originator of life, right? That he causes life to happen, and it's the man who causes life to happen. The woman conceives the seed of man, and life happens, but that requires the opportunity for her to receive the seed. So, in that sense, we can understand that we relate to God as Father. And so, when you put mother in there, that's why I asked Susan, find out why she does that. Basically, especially as we well know, Sue, in radical feminism, when they refer to Mother God, they're referring to Gaia, the spirit of the earth mother, so it's very important to understand that is substantially changing what was the intentionality of our Lord in giving us the Our Father. So.
Absolutely. And Sophia, that was another one that they were praying to, this goddess of wisdom that they got from the wisdom literature. And that's really talked about a lot in Donna Steichen's book, Ungodly Rage, where she talks about how this goddess religion, it became a religion. They were actually praying to this entity that they believed was brought forth in the book of wisdom.
Yeah.
And so they were even praying to this holy wisdom, and they were saying that this is a female god when actually it's really not. It's just an accident of grammar is all it is. And they're saying that this word in wisdom in Greek is feminine in gender, so that must mean that there's a feminine version of God. This is where they get it all from. So I think that it's a good to point that out. That it can be they can be praying to some other entity. And the thing that I wanted to add, about this whole AA thing, if they're out there invoking a universal life force as their higher power, and that's very important. The turning over, the admission that you can't handle your addiction, and then turning that over to the higher power to help you with. If they're turning it over to God, they're going to get help. They're going to be helped. If they're turning it over to universal life force, well, that doesn't exist. So they're on their own, in essence. They're not praying to a God who can help them. So I think that the 12-step program, to really be effective, can't have those things in it. You've got to be able to turn that issue over to that higher power who is Jesus Christ,
right?
And not to some other being that you're making up, or the New Agers. They're always into this chi thing that doesn't exist. And I feel bad for them, because the people who are going there are really looking for help. They want help. And yet the New Agers who co-opt these meetings, they're short-circuiting everything by interjecting this universal, praying to the universe instead of praying to God. That's really what they're doing, is they're just short-circuiting the whole program and making it much less effective, I would think.
Yeah, well, and again, I think it would be a very uncomfortable setting for a Catholic to be in. I know that it would. I would probably have the same response that Susan had. I would be ill at ease. I wouldn't want to pray the prayer. I would probably be changing it. I would be keeping it as it is in my own mind. But and then. Obviously there would be a tendency, I would think, because, this is a very intimate setting and people are sharing and they're revealing their hearts, they're revealing their souls, their emotions. And, I would feel inhibited in that kind of a setting. I wouldn't want, because I would be afraid that, that the person praying to Mother God would, in some way take that home and begin it would just bother me. I don't think I would be comfortable. But again, we obviously want to state that the AA program in its unadulterated form is really very, very helpful. And we had that testimony from Chris, and so we don't want to discourage anybody. We just want to, again, encourage everybody to use their gift of discernment to see how these things are resonating with you, and to have your guard up so that you don't fall victim. We can begin to rationalize. The evil one will plant a seed and he'll water that seed, and then pretty soon, he'll be trying to lead us down some non-primrose path to perdition.
Absolutely. That could happen to you so easily. And the other thing, too, is that if you're in there, like you said, it's so uncomfortable for them. The one man who wrote to us, this was years ago now that he wrote to us, and he said that every time he goes to a meeting, another fallen away Catholic says how they suffered and hate the church now.
Yeah.
And if he tries to share his good experience of a real Catholic faith, they shoot him down.
Yeah.
So he can't even participate really in it.
No, that's exactly right. He becomes marginalized. Well, we're living in difficult times, and it takes strong people, but we can be strong in the Lord. And Sue, you certainly do help us every Wednesday to discern the truth from the falsehood, and we appreciate that so very much. I invite you to get out to our website again and check out Sue's New Age blog. womenofgrace.com is the way to get there. Inviting you also to check out all of the many good resources that we've got available for you there. And moms, and get your daughters to be with us, and you too, for our beautiful Young Women of Grace online event where we're going to be talking about true friendship. That is March the 7th. You can register right at womenofgrace.com. Until we're together again, God bless you now. Bye.
The most original and exclusive Catholic content is on EWTN Radio.
We talk story with each of our very unique guests for the whole hour so that you can go deep with them.